All right, peace and blessings. I went to the P.O. box this morning and I got 9 prison letters. Most of them were from David Hinkson, but there were a few from a few other prisoners. One of those other prisoners was Monty Akers. He's in the CMU in Marion, Illinois. So people have called Monty Akers a con man. I'm not saying that he is or that he isn't. I'm saying I don't think he even identifies as Christian. But we have communicated with him several times, and we've told him about Jesus. And if you want to tell somebody about Jesus, Monty Akers is a good candidate. He sent me a letter. It's going to be up on Year of Jubilee, so you can download it and read it yourself. I'm going to read it into YouTube. He wrote it on March the 4th, 2018. Well, hello, Brother Rudy. I hope this letter finds you and Aaron well. It has been a while since I've heard from you. Things are progressing for me, even though these prison people are trying to get in my way. I'm enclosing my address for your something entitled Survivor's Guide to Prison. Can I ask you to something with me? Can I ask you to something me with a 2 request? Can you help me find a public relations person? I have been given a name for one person. Her name is J.M. Lacey. Her email is, I'm not going to read her email. I have her phone number but no address. The person who looked her up for me could only find a phone number and email, and she has, I can't read the word. She has T-R-A-U-D-E, trod. I don't know what that word is. Trod with English. And it's hard for her, trouble. She has trouble with English and it's hard for her to email. Actually, she's afraid of the prison system and doesn't realize it is permitted to email and obtain contact information. I wrote her 2 letters today about that. From now on, she should understand it's okay to email her for contact info. I also have to contact Dr. Pearson by the name of Annie Jennings. I have a hard time reading his writing. I have tried to call her office to appeal to her or speak to her. I think her something thinks I am calling a wrong number. If you can email Annie and verify her mailing address, I will write to her. If you know a publicist or a PR person you can recommend to me, please do so. Thank you again. I hope you like my address. Survivor's Guide to Prison. Okay, so if you want to help, Monty Akers find a PR person, or what do you call it? Or a publicist. I'm certainly not a PR person or publicist. I told we'll be on iTunes and Cinemax this week. Check it out. My friend David Arquette produced it. He was trying to get me involved, but it's impossible from this unit. I'm writing a compilation for him to put up on his website about my circumstances, about my present circumstances, past, etc. When I get air, you will produce another documentary. When I get out, we will produce another documentary movie. I'll keep you informed. What I really want is an honest something publicist, PR person. No, I can't read it, man. That's why I'm... Gotta be kidding me. I can't... oh my gosh.
This is a free call from...
That's why I'm... I hear this is located a person as well. Perwell, your friend.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
We'll pick this up and read the rest of it later. All right, sorry about that. It's quite hectic. Anyway, I've got Monty Akers' letter. It's called A Survivor's Guide to Prison. Keep in mind this will be uploaded to Year of Jubilee. It's been a while since I did a composition for my friend Rudy Davis. Rudy is a busy guy and has a lot on his plate. Sometimes it's hard for people to realize what's going on around them that can feel just like being in prison sometimes. For me, the most humiliating thing is being at a disadvantage. People will get cocky when they have you at a disadvantage. Little do they know what that outcome may end up being. You can't warn people like this because they are literally like machines. And when I say machines, not in the sense of working like a Swiss watch or well-oiled machinery, but worthless slag heap denizens of humanity. Let me explain. People don't speak much about prison personnel in our society. They are people that live in the shadows, a subculture that has no roots and has nothing to compare it to. Granted, we need prisons, and there are some decent people who work in prison. I've known a few. I've also known some really bad ones, people that cannot be counted as part of the human race. I'm going to talk about a couple of those monsters today. But before I do, let's inject some spiritual understanding at the forefront of this talk. Most people have a belief in one form of religion or spiritual understanding. The common denominator is that there are people who make mistakes, and we all, as part of the human family, have to some degree or another fell short of what we intended in our lives. Sometimes our life stories are not told as they should have been. In any event, it is important to take responsibility for the actions that we decided to take. Sometimes we cross paths with an individual who goes beyond the capability to reconcile their being as human. The one I want to speak about today is a person named Catherine Serveld. This person is one for the ages. Serveld has worked in the Bureau of Prisons as a legal advisor since she graduated from law school in 2008. She never held a position in a law firm and never practiced in court. Her career has been assigned to what's known as the Communications Management Unit in the Federal Bureau of Prisons at Terre Haute, Indiana. Sarah Field's job description is to advise BOP staff on BOP policy and procedure. Little did anyone know that Sarah Field obtained this position when the CMUs first opened. Sarah Field is a professed Zionist Jew. She has been involved in every form of skullduggery known to man in violating BOP policy, lying, deceiving, and cuddling up to my prosecutor in Kansas, Kim I. Flanagan, whose birth name is Kim M. Berger. AUSA Berger enlisted Sarah Veld's help back in 2009 when Berger was told I would be transferred from ADX Max facility to the CMU Marion in doing what she can to destroy my professional and personal contacts in the community. Sarah Veld is a hideous-looking individual. She has the look of a mean, ugly person in her eyes, and her demeanor matches it. She consorts with people who are just like her. Sarah Veld uses the Jewish faith to accost people she can by aligning herself with other Jewish BOP and DOJ and lay people on the outside into believing her stories that she advances to the persons she contacts. Her game is to contact people and say she is from the U.S. Department of Justice Counterterrorism Unit to get their attention and then scare them into believing what she is saying is true. If the party she is contacting are Jewish, she really plays up her Jewish role. I have known several fine Jewish people in my life. Sarah Field is not one of them. Sarah Field is a person who cannot be counted as human. She is worse than Hitler ever could have been. It is sad in our society that people like Sarah Field will hide behind a religious denomination to achieve an agenda. It has been done for years. Sarah Field believes you can't have this conversation with her because she will pull the anti-Semitic card. First off, she's not a Semite, not in any way. She doesn't come from Hebrew blood, but she will sure lead you to believe that she has. Recently, Sarah Field contacted a lawyer I was about to have represent me of the Jewish faith. Actually, 2 of them, but she's done the same thing over 50 lawyers of the Jewish faith I've tried to work with. She contacts these attorneys and convinces them not to represent me. Then she calls my prosecutor, Kim I. Flanagan, the name she goes by now, and can't wait to get an atta-girl for doing that. She is truly a wretched person. Page 2. I can sit here all day and speak about the acts and actions of Catherine Sareveld, which I might add I will do in a separate editorial. Now, I want to bring the concept of Survivor's Guide to Prison. The Catherine Sarevelds of the world are like bouncing balls that go nowhere and then you're wore out. My friend recently produced a documentary for the cinema about life in prison called Survivor's Guide to Prison. It teaches society as a whole what is happening around us, and we have no idea it is going on with us. We have no idea it's going on with us. I recommend this film to everyone. The actor Danny Trejo, Trejo, and my friend David Arquette collaborated on this movie. Society has been plagued with crime from the beginning. I too have been a part of the problem, but what I am not liking is the truly good and decent people of our society will suffer as a result of the Sarevelds who are allowed to forward an agenda in order to cover up for people who are more vicious, as I said, than Hitler. I also want to make it clear I am no fan of Hitler's or the Nazi movement or white supremacy or any of that. I believe in being proud of who you are and your race. I am white and I'm proud of white culture as I am with people of different cultures as well. Case in point, I have a dear friend that I have the most profound care and love for as a sister. Her name is Betul, Betty Kismaz of Germany. Betty is only 20 years young and an aspiring student. I don't think I've ever met a person with integrity and compassion that she has at such a young age. Betty has been through the ringer in her life and has had to battle prejudice and injustice in her country. Betty was telling me the other day that she doesn't want to come to the United States to visit because she is afraid the authorities will do something to her because she helps political prisoners. She is Muslim by faith and the true practitioner of Islam. Why should Betty be made to feel this way by the monsters of this country when she should be able to feel welcomed for the decent and charismatic person that she is? Social justice is what makes a world a better place. When you do the right things, you would expect right to be on your side, but alas, it is not so. The good of this world are vilified at times. When I see our corrupt politicians, authorities, judges, and the like going about our daily business, I count myself fortunate to have met a person like Betty. Out of the 4 billion people on earth, by providence, I was able to meet her in a time in my life that was designated by a power greater than myself. This is where we learn to survive the prison we make ourselves ultimately. Prison isn't necessarily confinement. We can walk around and be in prison, and that may be no fault of our own in the making. What is happening in our society is the Sarevelds are setting the standards not for excellence, but depravity. If you could speak to Sareveld for 5 minutes and look into her twisted, crooked face and jaw, you would understand. If you ever have the privilege of speaking and interacting with Betty Kismaz, you would walk away with a new opinion of a true Muslim believer. There are many people in prison today that shouldn't be inside, but then you have people who commit crimes like pedophilia, rape, murder, child pornography, getting a slap on the wrist and send them on their way. You have prison officials here at Marion USP mismanaging funds and projecting to the public that we have these programs in the CMU which we do not have. What this boils down to is wide diversity in right and wrong. What this boils down to is a wide diversity in right and wrong. What can be done about it? Something can be done, but you need a lot of media attention. That's my goal for the future. Once people have incentive to be right, to the wrongs, and that will happen. Nothing happens faster than in America when people want something to change in a big way. So I will make it a point to have an economic incentive for each person to help change our society. I'll bet if a person was paid $250,000 a year to change society, they would do it. In that we begin to understand how we survive the prison that has all been built around us. The end, Monty Akers. Like I said, this will be up on the Year of Jubilee website. Go to List of Other Prisoners, and you can download it and read it for yourself. Thank you for your time.